Ayan was just an ordinary man. He lived in a small house with his mother. Every morning, he woke up early, helped his mother with breakfast, and then left for work. He worked at a small office. His salary was not big, but he never complained. He always smiled. He helped people. If someone needed money or food, Ayan gave whatever he could. People in the neighborhood liked him. They said, "Ayan is a good boy. He has a clean heart." But everything changed one morning. It was a normal day. Ayan was getting ready for work. He kissed his mother on the forehead and stepped outside. Suddenly, 2 black cars stopped near his house. Police officers came out. Before Ayan could say anything, they grabbed him, pushed him to the ground, and put handcuffs on him. Neighbors came out of their houses. Someone whispered, "What happened?" Another person said, "I think it's about a murder." Murder? Ayan was shocked. He didn't understand. "There must be a mistake," he said. But the police didn't listen. They pulled him into the car. His mother cried, shouting, "My son is innocent." By the evening, Ayan's photo was everywhere, on the news, on social media, in newspapers. The headline said, "Young man arrested in shocking murder case." People who once smiled at him now called him a killer. The victim was a rich businessman named Saad. Everyone said Saad was a kind man, a successful man, a respected man. They said Ayan killed him because of money. No one asked Ayan what really happened. No one waited for the truth. In jail, Ayan sat alone. He thought about his life. He thought about his mother. He cried, but not because he was afraid. He cried because no one believed him. Days passed, then weeks. Every time Ayan stood in front of the judge, the same thing happened. The lawyers shouted, the police gave fake reports, and the judge looked bored. It was like they already decided. Ayan was guilty. Nobody asked him his side of the story. Nobody cared. People who once took help from him now ignored him. One of his old friends even said on TV, "Maybe he was always like this. We just didn't see it." Ayan's heart broke again and again, but still, he didn't give up. He kept saying the same thing. "I didn't do it." But deep in his heart, Ayan knew something was wrong. He remembered something from the past, a strange conversation he heard, something the victim had said once. He didn't understand it then, but now it felt important. He thought about Saad. Everyone said Saad was a good man, but Ayan had worked with him for some time. He remembered how Saad sometimes acted strange. He had many secrets. He met powerful people late at night. And once, Ayan saw him shouting at someone in his office, warning them, "If you open your mouth, I will destroy you." At that time, Ayan thought it was just business. Now he wondered, was there something more? Was Saad hiding something? Did someone want him dead? But who would believe a man already called a murderer? In the courtroom, Ayan stood silently. The judge looked at him and asked, "Do you want to say something?" Ayan looked up. His eyes were tired, but steady. He took a deep breath. The courtroom was silent. He said only one thing. "I didn't do it, but maybe. I was not supposed to find the truth." Everyone in the room looked confused. What truth? What did he mean? But no one asked. They just called him guilty. Just like that. Outside, the world continued. News channels talked about how justice was done. People moved on. But in the shadows, behind the smiles, a secret was still hidden. And that secret was dangerous. Because Ayan was not lying. And the truth was darker than anyone could imagine. The world cried for Saad. Newspapers called him a hero. TV channels played his smiling photos every hour. They said, "A kind businessman, gone too soon." People gathered outside his house with candles. Reporters interviewed his family. His wife, in tears, said, "Saad always helped others. He didn't deserve this." His daughter, only 10 years old, hugged his photo and asked, "Why did someone hurt my papa?" The world felt sorry for Saad, angry for Saad. They wanted punishment, and Ayan became the easy answer. But no one asked, who was Saad, really? Ayan knew another side of him. Months ago, Ayan had worked in Saad's office as a junior assistant. It was a good job for someone like Ayan, who had no big degree but a good heart. He respected Saad at first. Everyone did. Saad was polite, always smiling, and gave money to charities. He paid for a school, helped a hospital, and even sponsored poor families. Everyone said he was a man of gold. But behind closed doors, Saad was different. Ayan once saw him shouting on the phone in his cabin, "Don't call me here again. You know what's at risk." Saad slammed the phone down, turned, and when he saw Ayan by accident, he smiled. "Work stress," he said. "Don't worry." Another time, Ayan entered the office early. Saad was already there, talking to a stranger. The stranger's face was cold, his eyes sharp. Ayan overheard one sentence. "If he opens his mouth, it'll destroy everything." Ayan didn't understand what they were talking about, but that moment stayed in his mind. Saad had secrets, powerful ones. Late at night, Saad often left the office in a hurry. He had 2 phones, one for business, the other he always kept hidden. Nobody else touched it. One night, Ayan saw him lock something inside a drawer and leave. After he left, the cleaning staff opened the cabin. Ayan went in, curious. The drawer was locked, but a folder had fallen on the floor. Inside it were photos. Not normal photos, documents, letters, people Ayan had never seen before. Some had government stamps. Some looked like bank papers. One had a signature with the words, "Co-and-fi-de-in-to-il." Before Ayan could read more, someone called his name. He quickly placed the folder back. But something changed in him that night. He didn't trust Saad anymore. Still, he didn't tell anyone. He needed the job. His mother was sick. He couldn't afford to lose his salary. But weeks before Saad's death, things got worse. A new employee joined the office. His name was Faison. He was quiet, smart, and always stayed near Saad. He didn't talk much to others, but Ayan noticed he often checked on Saad's calls, his meetings, even his hidden phone. One day, Faison said something strange to Ayan. "If you want to survive here, don't ask too many questions." Ayan smiled awkwardly, trying to ignore it. But inside, he felt fear. One evening, Ayan stayed late to finish some files. Everyone had left. While passing by Saad's cabin, he noticed the door slightly open, and the hidden phone on the table, forgotten. Ayan walked in slowly. He picked up the phone. It had no password. He opened the messages. What he saw made his blood run cold. There were chats with unknown numbers, messages about money transfers, secret meetings, threats. One message said, "If he speaks to the media, we'll handle it, just like the others." Just then, the main office door opened. Someone entered. Ayan panicked, placed the phone back, and left quietly. He didn't sleep that night. Ayan thought about telling someone, but who would believe him? A junior employee accusing a respected businessman. And then, just 2 days later, Saad was found dead, and Ayan was arrested. Everything happened so fast, it felt like a dream or a nightmare. The police didn't ask questions. They said it was a robbery. They said Ayan was jealous. They found Ayan's fingerprints on Saad's table, and that was enough. But they didn't check the phone. They didn't talk about the secret messages. They didn't question Saad's perfect image. Because maybe they already knew. Maybe the truth was too dangerous. Ayan sat alone in his prison cell. The cold walls around him felt like they were closing in more each day. But his mind was wide awake. He kept thinking about Saad's second phone, the hidden messages, and those confidential documents. No one even asked about those things. He whispered to himself, "Why?" Everyone believed what they were shown. A good man had died, and a poor man was blamed. Simple story. Easy to sell. Easy to forget. But something didn't add up. And Ayan still remembered one person who might have answers. Faison, the man who warned him to stay silent. Faison had worked close to Saad. Too close. But after Saad's death, Faison suddenly disappeared. The office said he quit. No one saw him again. No media asked about him. It was like he never existed. Ayan couldn't do much from prison, but he had one small hope. Bilal, his old friend and roommate from college. Bilal had believed in Ayan from day one. While others doubted, Bilal said, "I know you. You're not a killer." Bilal wasn't rich or powerful. He worked in a local cyber cafe. But he was smart with computers. And more than that, he had guts. One evening, Bilal came to visit Ayan in jail. "I think someone deleted Saad's second phone record from the police file," Bilal whispered through the glass wall. "There's no mention of it. Only his main phone was taken." Ayan nodded slowly. The second one had everything. Messages, calls, threats. "I'm going to find it," Bilal promised. Outside the prison, Bilal started digging. He went to the office building where Saad used to work. Things had changed. A new manager sat in Saad's place. Bilal acted like a customer looking for a job. He asked questions, looked around. One night, he managed to sneak into the building with an old access card Ayan had left behind. He went straight to Saad's old cabin. Most of the drawers were empty, cleaned out, but in the back corner of the room, behind a broken shelf, Bilal found a dusty old file box. Inside it were random papers, old bills, meeting notes, and one small item wrapped in cloth. He opened it, a silver USB drive. There was no label, no name, just a number written in red ink, #79C1. Bilal took it home and plugged it into his computer. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a folder opened, PRIV80, do not open. He clicked it. Inside were videos. One by one, he opened them. What he saw shocked him. In one video, Saad was talking to a group of men in suits. They sat in a dark room. Their faces were not clear, but their voices were recorded. One man said, "This land deal will be worth millions. Just make sure the activists disappear." Another voice said, "Use the boy. He's poor, easy to control. If anything goes wrong, we pin it on him." Saad replied, "I know the one. Works in my office. Quiet. Loyal. He won't ask questions." Bilal froze. They were talking about Ayan. The next video showed something worse. Saad was blackmailing someone. A politician. He had photos of illegal property documents, videos of hidden meetings. Saad wasn't just helping these powerful people, he was also keeping proof against them. Insurance, just in case they turned on him. But someone had found out. And then, Saad was dead. Bilal's hands were shaking. He saved the files, backed them up, and locked the USB away. He didn't know who to trust. If Saad had been killed for having this proof, then Bilal could be next. He called Ayan's mother and explained everything. She cried, but asked him to be careful. He returned to the prison the next day. Ayan looked thinner, tired, but his eyes lit up when he saw Bilal. "I found it," Bilal said quietly. "They used you, Ayan. They planned everything." Ayan gripped the glass wall. His heart pounded. "Can we show it to the court?" "Not yet," Bilal said. "We need a lawyer. A real one. And someone in media who won't sell out." Ayan nodded. "Be careful, Bilal. These people don't play fair." Bilal left, full of fear but also fire. He had found the first clue, but he knew it was only the beginning. Because now he wasn't just saving his friend. He was chasing the truth, and powerful people were going to try everything to stop him. Days in jail were slow, heavy, and full of silence, but inside Ayan's mind, a storm was growing. Each morning, he woke up to the sound of iron bars and shouted orders. The jail was full of men, some guilty, some broken, and some forgotten. Ayan was not like them. He had never touched a weapon, never harmed a soul. But now he was treated like a criminal, locked away from the world like a shameful secret. Every day, the guards gave him a new reason to lose hope. They called him names. They made him clean dirty toilets. They gave him half-cooked food, sometimes none at all. When he complained, they laughed. "You're lucky we even let you breathe," one officer said. "You killed a good man. What respect do you expect?" But the worst part wasn't the beatings or the hunger. The worst part was the loneliness. His mother tried to visit him once a week, but she had become weak. Her eyes were swollen, her body shaking. She had stopped going to the market because neighbors stared. She stopped answering her phone because relatives only called to ask, "Did your son really do it?" One day, she came to the jail, sat across the glass, and said, "I know you didn't do it, Beta, but I don't know how much more I can take." Ayan's heart broke. "I'm sorry, Amy," he whispered. "Just hold on. The truth will come out." But inside, even he was beginning to lose faith. Outside, Bilal was working like a man on fire. The USB drive had changed everything. He had seen the truth, the real truth. But truth was dangerous, and someone already knew he had it. First, his laptop started acting strange. Files disappeared. His screen blinked black. He went to a friend in it who told him, "This is not normal. Someone is tracking your system." Then, one night, a black car followed him home. He turned left. The car turned. He stopped. The car stopped. When he looked back, the car sped off into the dark. Bilal didn't sleep that night. The next morning, he got a call from an unknown number. A heavy voice said, "Curiosity is not a good habit, especially for people like you." Before Bilal could answer, the call ended. He rushed to a lawyer he trusted, Mrs. Nida Farouk, a retired high court advocate known for speaking against corruption. She was brave, sharp, and honest, but even she looked uneasy when Bilal showed her the USB files. "These men," she said slowly, "are not small. They're connected. Politicians, builders, maybe even police officers. If you go to the media directly, they will silence you." "Then what should I do?" Bilal asked, feeling helpless. "You let me take it to court the right way," she replied. "But be careful. From now on, they'll watch every move." Back in jail, things became worse for Ayan. One evening, 3 guards pulled him from his cell. They dragged him to a dark room. No cameras, no other prisoners, just silence. A man in plain clothes entered. His face was calm. Too calm. "You're becoming a problem," the man said. "I didn't do anything," Ayan replied. "I only saw something I wasn't supposed to." "Exactly," the man smiled. "That's the problem." Then came the blows. A fist to his stomach, a slap to his face, a kick to his legs. Ayan screamed, but no one heard, or no one cared. After 20 minutes, the man knelt down beside him and whispered, "Forget everything. Accept your guilt, or your mother might suffer too." Ayan couldn't breathe, not because of the pain, but because of the fear. They had crossed a line now. That night, as he lay bruised on the cell floor, he thought about giving up. Maybe it was easier to confess and let it end. But then he remembered Saad's voice in that video. "Use the boy. He won't ask questions." Ayan had asked questions, and now he knew why they wanted him gone. He wasn't a criminal. He was a witness. Outside, Bilal and Nida worked on building the legal case, but time was running out. Nida filed a petition to reopen Ayan's case based on new digital evidence. The court gave a date, but it was weeks away. They needed to stay alive until then. Bilal moved to a safer location. Nida hired 2 guards. The tension grew. And somewhere, deep in the city, powerful people began planning their next move. Because one thing was clear now. Ayan had survived the first round of pressure. But the real pain was just beginning. The courtroom date was still weeks away. Ayan's body was weak, but his mind refused to break. He spent most of his time sitting in the corner of his cell, thinking, not about freedom, but about the truth. He kept going over every face he had seen in Saad's life: business partners, friends, strange guests, powerful people who walked into the office late at night. He remembered names, locations, smiles that didn't feel real. They all shared one thing: secrecy. Outside, Bilal and advocate Nida worked quietly, moving like shadows. They couldn't trust anyone, not even the local police. The day after Nida filed Ayan's petition, two men came to her office pretending to be journalists. They asked strange questions. One of them kept looking around the room. When she asked for their ID, they smiled and left. That night, Nida's car tires were slashed. Bilal was also being followed again, but this time they weren't hiding. Two men stood outside his new apartment every evening. One held a phone. The other smoked, staring at the door. Bilal texted Nida, "They want us scared." She replied, "That means we're close to something." That something had a name. And Bilal found it accidentally while watching one of the USB videos again. He had missed it the first time, but now he paused and zoomed in. A man in a suit handed Saad a folder. On it was a stamp, not a company logo, not a government mark. A strange symbol. It looked like a triangle with a line through it and a number below, 121. He took a screenshot and searched everywhere. Hours passed, and then he found a match. An old news blog had a blurry photo from a protest 10 years ago. A man held a file with the same symbol. The article said, "Whistleblower claims private group controlling land deals and media. Police deny any such group exists." The man in the article had vanished 2 weeks later. The blog was deleted, but the internet never forgets. That's when Nida confirmed it. "They call themselves Circle 121, she whispered. "A secret group made of businessmen, politicians, retired officers, even some judges. No official name, no public list, but behind many sudden deaths, lost cases, or sold lands, their fingerprints are always there." Bilal felt cold. Was Saad part of them? He asked. "More than part," Nida said. "He had records, evidence. Maybe he wanted to expose them, or maybe he wanted to blackmail them." "And Ayan?" Bilal asked. Nida looked serious. "They used Ayan as a shield, a scapegoat, someone to blame when they needed the public distracted." Bilal couldn't speak. Everything made sense now. The silence, the fast arrest, the missing files, the threats. Ayan wasn't just innocent. He was targeted. But knowing this was one thing. Proving it in court was another. They needed solid evidence. Video wasn't enough. It could be called fake. So Bilal tried something risky. He contacted an old employee from Saad's office, Mahmoud, the janitor. Mahmoud was poor, quiet, and scared, but after many calls, he agreed to meet. They met in a tea shop, away from cameras. "I don't want trouble," Mahmoud said, shaking. "I just need the truth," Bilal replied. Mahmoud looked around nervously. Then he said something that changed everything. "I saw them the night Saad died." Bilal froze. Mahmoud continued. "Two men came to the office, not from staff. I had seen them before, once with Saad in the basement. That night, I heard shouting, then silence. I hid. Next morning, Saad was dead. Then police came and blamed Ayan." "Why didn't you say anything?" Bilal asked. "I tried," Mahmoud whispered. "I called a local reporter. 2 days later, my house was burned. I lost everything. I ran." Bilal recorded the whole confession. It was the first living witness. Meanwhile, in jail, Ayan received a message. Not on paper, not from a lawyer. It came hidden in his dinner plate. A small note, folded and oily, tucked under the bread. It said, "You are now part of the game. If you don't play by the rules, your mother will die before you see her again." There was no name, no signature, just a symbol. The triangle, the line, the number 121. Ayan's hands trembled. They had found him. Even here, behind locked doors, they had reached him. But instead of fear, something else rose inside him. Fire. "They think I'm weak," he whispered, "but I'm still alive." Outside, Nida prepared her case. The confession, the USB files, the old newspaper clip, the video, everything. She knew the court would try to delay. That's how Circle 121 worked. Slow the system until the truth dies on its own. But this time, she was ready. Because this time, the victim wasn't just one man. It was justice. The day had finally come. After months of silence, threats, and secrets, Ayan's case was going to be reopened in court. His name was back in the headlines. Murder case returns with new evidence, but the articles didn't tell the full truth. The real story was still hidden in the shadows. Ayan sat in the prisoner's box, wearing an old shirt and bruises that hadn't fully healed. The court was packed. Some came to see justice. Others came to protect lies. A few came just to watch a show. Bilal sat on the first bench with Nida, holding the USB and Mahmoud's recorded confession. He looked over at Ayan and gave a small nod. Ayan returned a faint smile. But their small hope was about to be tested. The judge entered. Everyone stood. He was not the same judge who had closed the case months ago. This one was older, calm, but cold. His eyes didn't show curiosity. They showed control. Nida stood up. She began slowly. "My lord, I am here not just for a man. I am here for the truth. We have uncovered evidence that shows Ayan was framed, used, and falsely imprisoned. What I present today can change this case forever." She played the first video. The courtroom was silent as Saad's voice echoed through the speakers. The talk of land deals, threats, and using the boy made some people shift uncomfortably in their chairs. Then came Mahmoud's confession, his voice shaky but clear. "I saw them. 2 men, not from staff." Argument. Then silence. Some gasped. Others whispered. Even the journalists in the room looked surprised. Ayan sat still, his hands folded. His heart raced, but this time, with hope. Then came the defense. A tall man in a black coat stood. Confident. Expensive suit. Sharp words. "My lord," he said smoothly, "this entire case is built on weak recordings and theories. Where is the proof that these videos are real? Where is the camera evidence from the night of the murder? Where is a police report about these secret groups?" He smiled. "Anyone can make a video. Anyone can speak fake words." Nida responded. The police refused to investigate. Evidence was erased. The original report was edited. The judge raised his hand. "We are not here for drama." Advocate Nida. She fell silent. Bilal clenched his fists. He could see what was happening. This court was not fair. At lunch break, Nida sat with Bilal outside the courtroom. "This judge," she whispered, "I checked his old rulings. 5 land cases, all in favor of the same 3 companies. 2 of them linked to Circle 121. Then he's one of them," Bilal said. "Or working for them," Nida replied. "But if we leave now, they win." Back in court, things turned darker. The defense called it a surprise witness, a police officer from the original investigation. He took the stand and said, "We found blood on Ayan's shirt, his fingerprints on the murder weapon, and a clear motive, office jealousy." Nida stood up. That report was questioned. The lab never confirmed the blood belonged to the victim, and the murder weapon had no fingerprints. But the judge waved her off. Bilal watched helplessly as the truth was buried again. Then something unexpected happened. From the back of the courtroom, An old man stood up. He wore a dusty coat, weak hands, but his voice was loud. "My name is Rafikat Ali. I worked with Saad for 12 years. I was there the night before he died." The court went silent. "I know who killed him," he said. Chaos broke out. The judge ordered silence. Rafikat was brought to the witness box. His hand shook as he told his story. Saad had changed. He was scared. He told me, "If anything happens to me, it won't be by accident." He was being followed. He told me about a group, a powerful one. He had proof. He said they used ion as a shield. "Why didn't you come earlier?" the judge asked. "I was afraid," Rafikat said. "But seeing this boy suffer, I couldn't stay quiet anymore." The court ended for the day. The judge said he needed time to review. Nida looked tired. "They'll try to delay the verdict," she told Bilal. "They'll try to make us disappear before then." "What can we do?" Bilal asked. "We need to go public," she said. That night, Nida uploaded the videos, the confession, and the courtroom recordings to 3 different journalists. One of them, Sarah Khan, a bold online reporter, posted it all online. Within hours, it went viral. Was Ayan framed by a secret society? Shocking new evidence in murder case. The group behind the mask. Circle 121. The public started talking. Protests began. People demanded answers. But the next morning, Sarah Khan went missing. Her car was found. Her phone broken. She was gone. Bilal was terrified. "This is real," he said to Nida. "They're coming." But Nida stood firm. "So are we," she replied. Ayan sat in his cell that night, hearing the news. People outside were chanting his name, fighting for him. For the first time in months, he looked up at the stars through the small window. He whispered, "Maybe they can hide the truth in court, but they can't hide it from the world." The city was awake now. People were no longer silent. The name Ayan was everywhere, on posters, in news channels, on social media. Hashtags like #JusticeForAyan and #Circle121Expose were trending. But justice is not given easily, especially when truth stands against powerful people. The courtroom was set for the final hearing. That morning, Ayan was brought in with extra security, not to protect him, but to control the crowd. Supporters stood outside the court building with signs. Journalists filled the hall. There was energy in the air, a mix of hope and fear. Bilal and advocate Nida sat together once more, eyes tired but determined. "He may not free Ayan," Bilal whispered, "but now the whole world is watching." Nida nodded. "If the system fails, the people won't." The judge entered the courtroom, his face unreadable. Everyone stood, then silence. He cleared his throat. After reviewing the evidence, the video recordings, the new witness statements, and the digital files, this court finds that there is reasonable doubt in the case. A pause. Ayan cannot be proven guilty beyond that doubt. Bilal held his breath. The judge looked at Ayan and said, "This court releases you from all charges. You are free to go." The courtroom erupted. People clapped. Some cried. Nida smiled for the first time in weeks. Bilal closed his eyes, whispering a quiet, "Thank you." But Ayan, he didn't smile. He just stood still, silent. The words hadn't fully entered his heart yet. He had waited so long for this day that it didn't feel real. Then his mother walked through the side door. She was crying, weak but smiling. Ayan finally stepped forward. He didn't say a word, he just hugged her tightly. Outside the courtroom, cameras flashed. Reporters screamed questions. Protesters cheered. But as Ayan stepped out, he said only one sentence. "I was never the victim." The truth was. But freedom came with a price. That same night, Advocate Nida's office was broken into. Papers burned. Hard drives stolen. Bilal received an anonymous text. You won one round, but the game is not over. Sarah Khan, the missing journalist, was found in a hospital 3 days later, alive, but shaken. She had been drugged and left in a farmhouse. She told the media, Circle 121 is not just real. It's bigger than you think. Her voice brought fear, but also courage. Ayan didn't return to his old life. How could he? The small office job, the peaceful evenings, the simple dreams, they were gone now, replaced by something heavier, something more dangerous. He started speaking at colleges, protests, small gatherings, not for attention, but to educate people about power, silence, and fear. He didn't want revenge. He wanted change. Bilal continued his work too, now as an independent reporter. He created a digital series called 121, Inside the Circle, exposing land scams, corrupt officials, and missing whistleblowers. Each episode shook the system a little more. Advocate Nida became a national voice. She filed a petition to open an official investigation into Circle 121. Her life was under threat, but her voice was louder than ever. And somewhere in a dark, air-conditioned room, a group of men sat in silence. Suits, cigars, files on the table. They've become too loud, one said. Then we quiet them, replied another. But a third man shook his head. No, not yet. Let the people feel they've won. Let them enjoy their hero. A pause. Then we remind them who really runs the city. Back in his small rented room, Ayan sat by the window. The stars looked clearer now. He held a notebook. On the cover, it read, Names, places, secrets. It wasn't over. It had just begun. He looked out and whispered, They tried to break me, but they made me stronger. Now, I'm not just a witness. I'm the storm. Months had passed since Ayan walked out of that courtroom. People still remembered his story. The media called him the boy who fought the giants. His face had become a symbol of courage. His voice gave hope to many who had none. But what the world didn't know was this. The war wasn't over. Circle 121 hadn't disappeared. It had simply gone quiet. And Ayan had learned to listen in silence. He no longer lived in the city. After the trial, he moved to a quiet town 2 hours away. He lived in a small house near the hills, where no one knew him as a case, only as a calm young man who spent most of his time reading or writing. But Ayan was not resting. He was watching, waiting, planning. Every week, he received messages from unknown people, whistleblowers, victims, journalists, people who were afraid, people who had stories just like his, stories of land stolen, voices silenced, families threatened. Ayan kept a file for each one. He called it the silent list. It was growing fast. One day, a message arrived that shook him. It was from Mahmoud, the janitor who had testified. The message was only 5 words. They found me. I'm sorry. That same night, Mahmoud's body was found near a river. The report said, accident, but Ayan knew the truth. Circle 121 was cleaning its trail. Again. He called Bilal. They're moving again, Ayan said. Bilal, now running his online channel, sounded tense. You're not safe. I'm never safe, Ayan replied. But they need to know. They're not either. That week, Ayan traveled back to the city. He wore a cap, moved quietly, stayed out of sight. He wasn't there to speak. He was there to dig. Using a contact from Nida, he got access to old property files, secret transactions, money trails. He followed a lead to an abandoned office building once used by Saad's company. There, hidden behind a loose brick, he found something left behind, a locked diary. The pages were full of codes, strange initials, dates, and maps. He took it straight to Nida. Her eyes widened. This is not just about Circle 121. "What do you mean?" Ayan asked. She looked at the map. "This is bigger. These circles, they go international. They're connected to offshore accounts, fake NGOs, fake charity homes. This isn't just one circle. It's a web." That night, Nida's car was attacked. Two men on a bike broke her window and threw a warning note inside. "Stop playing with fire." But Nida didn't stop. She and Ayan decided it was time to go public again. Bilal prepared a live broadcast, this time not just with stories, but with documents, photos, and coordinates. Names that had never been spoken before. Contracts that connected judges to gang leaders, hospitals to illegal organ trade, politicians to land mafias. Ayan looked into the camera and spoke calmly. "They tried to erase me. Now I will erase the silence. Circle 121 is not a number, it's a mirror. And what we saw in it is not just corruption. It's evil, hidden behind suits and titles." Within hours, chaos exploded. Government spokespeople called it fake news. Police denied everything. But the people believed Ayan. Too much truth had already been revealed. And now, it was too big to cover up. But truth comes at a cost. 2 nights later, Ayan's house was burned. He wasn't home. He had expected it. Bilal's channel was taken down temporarily. Nida was placed under police protection. But the files had already spread. Too many copies, too many backups. The people had them now. Circle 121 could not stop it. Then came the biggest shock. A high-ranking politician was arrested. And behind that arrest, a name appeared in reports. A man who had once walked free. A man who had been present in every deal. A man who was at Saad's office the night before he died. The judge who had set Ayan free. He was one of them. And he had set Ayan free not because he believed him, but because he thought no one would believe a boy's word against the system. He was wrong. Ayan stood once again before the media. But this time, he didn't ask for justice. He warned, "You can kill a witness, but not the wind. You can burn a home, but not the fire. We are not afraid anymore. We are many, and we are watching." The camera zoomed out slowly, showing thousands watching live. Somewhere, inside a glass building, a man turned off the TV, clenched his fists, and said, "He's not a boy anymore. He's a problem." Ayan closed his notebook and looked out the window. The night was dark, but he had become darker. He whispered, "Let them come. I'm ready."